Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Kiwi dollar or the NZD and all of this craziness that we just saw go on with this currency. Again, across different currency pairs, it was all sorts of craziness in the last 24 hours. So I figured I would jump on here and make a quick video explaining sort of what's been going on as well as my thoughts and opinions for the Kiwi dollar. These are things like NZD USD, NZD JPY, NZD CHF, Euro NZD, Aussie NZD, right? All of those different currency pairs that have NZD in them. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, so stay tuned. Let's get into it. Okay, so the Kiwi dollar just drove higher at the start of the market this week. So the markets opened up and we just had this massive catalyst to the upside, which the first thing that came out was the idea from the RBNZ, which is the central bank there in New Zealand, talking about higher rates or hikes in the interest rate department, which is always viewed as, or mostly always viewed as, a bullish thing for a currency. And so a lot of buying pressure came into the New Zealand, launching it higher. But the confusing part is if it went so high, which we can see in this daily candle right here, we saw a massive launch. Why did it come all the way back down and even into negative territory for the day? And what does this actually mean? Well, again, interest rate hikes are usually perceived as a bullish thing for a currency. So on the fundamental side, you get something like this, you get news that says, hey, we're looking to raise rates. That's a bullish thing. In fact, I believe that they were talking about potentially even raising rates before the end of this year. It was actually a prediction made by another entity that was saying, hey, we think that the Central Bank of New Zealand is going to raise rates sooner than expected. And that was incredibly bullish for the New Zealand. So for the New Zealand dollar, that is a very, very strong catalyst to the upside. But then the weird thing here is that we had something very unexpected come out of the Kiwi dollar, which is this little news right here. I'm gonna head over to forexfactory.com. Check this out. So this is the GDT price index. And the GDT price index is the change in average price of dairy products sold at auction. Sounds sort of insignificant at first. Once you realize, though, that it has a huge impact on the pricing of a currency, that's where things get interesting. Because what this is telling us basically is that it is a leading indicator of the nation's trade balance with other countries because rising commodity prices boost export income. So the forecast here, well, we didn't get a forecast, but the actual that came out was negative 3.6% compared to the previous, which was only minus 1.3%. This news, GDT price index, was a very big shocker. And even though it's marked as a yellow folder, had a lot of impact on the markets. And so we saw a lot of those New Zealand dollar gains get absolutely erased. Now, I'm going to tell you guys what I think about the Kiwi dollar, and then we're going to talk about some quick trade setups or general ideas that I'm looking for. So these numbers, the GDT numbers, I personally am not incredibly worried that this is like the end of all days for the New Zealand dollar. I think that with the rate hikes sentiment coming in strong, or the prediction for higher interest rates sooner than expected, I think that that is a very positive catalyst for the NZD, and personally am switching to a buy preference on this currency across multiple different currency pairs. So with that said, I'll give you guys a couple different ideas. So first, we're taking a look here at the New Zealand dollar. Let's scroll out a little bit and see where we're at. So this thing on the longer time frames has been trending up nicely. Then we found really strong support here down at 0.695 at the bottom of this pullback. So we have found a recent bottom, and now you can see price is off that bottom, but then with all the volatility today, what do we make of it? Where can we actually find setups? Well, for me, I think that this bottom has a pretty good chance of holding. Now, I could be wrong about this, and please remember that I can be wrong too. So I could be wrong and think that, you know, price can go off and really we just see a collapse. But for me, I think most likely we hold these lows for the time being. I think that the low is in for the time being for the New Zealand currency. And so for me right now, the New Zealand against some of the other currencies out there is a buy. And I'm going to talk about some of the specific ones that I like best in just a minute. But for big picture stuff, let's look at the Kiwi versus the US dollar. And so what we're seeing here, if we go down to the 4-hour chart, is things get pretty interesting. So you had this massive rocket ship to the upside, consolidation, rocket ship higher. And in this area, this is where the Kiwi or the New Zealand dollar had some great expectations for higher interest rates sooner than expected. And then we came into resistance. We found sellers who came in strong right here. And so this is the point that I really wanted to talk about with the Kiwi dollar. Let's say that we do hold a pullback here and that this forms a higher low and that we rocket all the way back up. up to previous demand resistance. If we're able to break that and show signs of continuation, this is a very bullish catalyst for me on the Kiwi dollar, and very much will have me looking for setups that are going with this momentum. Again, we formed that low here on the daily chart and looking to see if we can actually hold and maintain those gains here off of the breakout here. So the question is, can we get above this big level at 0.70 to 0.7080? So let's say that's roughly where we're looking at it, right? If we're able to break through that level, I think that's a big thing for the Kiwi dollar. We've sort of been in consolidation and in a downtrend here on the 4-hour chart. So again, a breakout there could be huge. Watching that on the Kiwi versus the US dollar. What about some of the other ones out there? Well, I think that Euro New Zealand might be also an interesting one. This one already making a significant push one direction to the downside and then sort of erasing those gains. So this may be looking interesting for some potential pullback setups. You've got a level here where we currently sit actually at 1.69. So we'll see if that level wants to hold as resistance. Big thing about this one is that it is sort of in a overall uptrend. So let me draw in this. So you've got this trend line to the upside. It did fall through the floor and is now retesting that area. So that may be interesting, especially if you are short biased on the euro, which I sort of tend to be. It is a lower yielding in terms of interest currency. So I have a little bit more sell bias on the euro and more interest now, like I said, on the long side for the Kiwi dollar or the NZD. So I like that one potentially. And then what about NZD CHF? This is a big one that I really, really like. You can see I took some trades that did not work out, but I took very small losses on this. So it wasn't this catastrophic thing or anything like that. But I was thinking that price could hold this area. For me right now on the Kiwi versus the Swiss franc, I'd love to see this thing rally a little bit, show some signs of interest, and then maybe look to re-enter and try and catch more of this upside. But I think that, you know, you've got things like the NZD CHF, you've got things like NZD USD, Euro New Zealand, and I also like Pound New Zealand for potential short setups. So this is one that I may be watching myself. Again, nice little downtrend here on this one. The pound has been sort of weak. So there may be some nice setups to go off of on this one as well. Although this one's not as clean cut as some of the other ones. You may have some resistance that wants to hold here. You can see a lot of rejection in that area. So could be interesting to see if the New Zealand can get enough strength to push Pound New Zealand down to support. And similar to what we just talked about with New Zealand dollar, a breakout of this major key zone right here would be a big deal, I think, for the Pound New Zealand. So for example, if you get something like this, price holds that area, maybe you see something, a breakout and retest, continuation lower. That I like those setups. Those are a couple things that I wanted to just point out to you guys and explain in terms of news and analysis for the Kiwi dollar. It is hot on my watch list for now. We'll see if we can catch any more trade setups on it going forward. Please remember, if I take any trades, I will be sharing them inside of the private Discord channel. Inside of the Discord channel, you see all the trades that I take, as well as Frank and Patrick's trades, both other traders that are inside of our private group. And then also you get access to our chat room, live coaching webinars, educational material, training material, strategy libraries, tons of different resources and tools available inside of our Discord. If you're not already in it, it's the first link to sign up on our website down below in the description. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful to you, and we'll see you back in the next one.